Hey guys, welcome. Today we have four really fun home and style segments to share with you. First up, we're going to start with that fall favorite flavor, caramel, and you're going to learn the foolproof way to make caramel sauce right at home that you can use in your coffees, decorating cakes, and in all of your desserts this season. Then we're going to look at an easy and affordable way to upgrade a non-traditional entryway in a classic suburban home. After that, we're going to pop back into the kitchen and we're going to learn about the drink that I swear by not only for cold and flu season, but also to keep my rosacea prone skin glowing year round. And we'll wrap everything up with a couple of new fall statement pieces from some under the radar brands that won't break the bank. So sit back, get comfortable, and let's get started. One of fall's greatest flavors is caramel, but it can be really intimidating to make it at home. You see the people in the bake-off try to do it, and they struggle with the crystallizing of the sugar in their pots as they're trying to get it to boil. And on top of that, there's lots of different ways to make caramel. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make an easy, foolproof caramel sauce at home that is a perfect texture to add to your coffee and to do things like decorate cakes like we're going to do today. To make our caramel sauce, we want to start by slowly bringing sugar and water to boil. But here is the step where you're going to avoid that common problem of crystallization. You're going to add just half a teaspoon of lemon juice. So you won't taste it, but adding it will invert some of the sugar, which is basically this process that prevents that sugar from crystallizing. So resist the urge to stir it, let it bubble away until it turns a lovely golden color, but don't let it go too dark because then it'll get burned. So to get that perfect texture that we're looking for, we're going to start by whisking in butter until it's completely incorporated. It's easiest to do this if you cut it up into small cubes like you see me doing here, and you want to whisk continuously because you can see it really does start bubbling away. Now, once all of the butter is completely incorporated, you're going to take the mixture off the heat and slowly whisk in a steady stream of heavy cream. Do this nice and slowly, just a little bit at a time, and once it's all completely mixed and you have a lovely smooth caramel, set it aside, let it cool completely, and put it in a nice glass or tight lidded container that you can keep in the fridge. So once you have your caramel from that recipe, because there is butter and cream in it, we have dairy products, it does need to be stored in the fridge. When it's stored in the fridge, it's going to firm up a little bit. So when you want to use it for your coffee, you can just dip a spoon into this and you're going to have a nice, thick, almost like a chewy caramel candy. And you're going to put that on the spoon. And when you pour your hot espresso or coffee over top of that, it'll melt really beautifully and you can stir it right in. What we need to do to get this drizzled onto our cake here today is heat up just a little bit so it's a nice pouring consistency. We want to make sure it's not too hot because if it's too hot, it's going to melt our buttercream. So let's get some out of my chilled jar here into a glass or microwave safe measuring cup, and we're going to heat it up just a little bit so we can drizzle it on this cake. So I zapped that in the microwave for just 8 seconds. And what I'm hoping you can see here is that now it's nice and runny, unlike the thick caramel that's chilled in the jar. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna drizzle a little bit over each of those little walnut towers. What I love about this cake, which is a coffee and walnut cake, it's a classic cake for fall, is that it's a pretty it doesn't take a lot of artistic talent to make this cake. It's pretty easy to have your frosting in the center, frosting on the top, and then a couple of basic little swirls. And I just thought that the caramel would not only add a nice extra sweet flavor, because nut and coffee together, they're delicious, but they can be a little bit on the dry side. And I thought that a little bit of extra sweetness from the caramel, and look at that dripping down the side there. How appetizing does that look? I thought it might just lift it a tiny little bit. And I think I'm going to take what I've got left on my spoon here and make myself a nice cup of coffee. The recipe for the cake came straight from this book from the Great British Baking Show, and I will link the recipe for my caramel down below. One of the most frustrating things about a traditionally built home in just a classic suburb from the early 90s is that the most commonly used point of entry is the garage door. And unlike a front entryway, which in my house is also not particularly large, there's not really anywhere to put all of the things that you carry into the house. And so the entryway coming right into the living room or the kitchen often becomes a bit of a dump zone. We had been using this old television stand that has been following me around since around 2009 as a sort of makeshift entryway table slash shoe storage space. And as you can see, it was never really fit for that purpose. And over time, it just sort of was forgotten. So I decided going into this season, when you have more people coming into the house and you're hosting, and honestly, just for my own sanity, I wanted to upgrade that storage space. So there were a few very specific things that I took into consideration when I chose this cabinet, and I'm gonna walk you guys through those things now. So if you have a similar area in your home that could use a loving upgrade, hopefully it'll help you out. So the first thing that I knew I wanted was for it to be pretty much even with the back of the couch. I didn't want it to be taller than the cushions because I didn't want to have to be looking over things like the decorative pieces on the top when I was speaking to somebody who's sitting on the couch, perhaps from over in the kitchen. I also didn't want it to be so that anybody who's sitting here and maybe reaches back with an arm is knocking into things. So it was important to me that I have the height even with the hard back of the couch. So I took a simple measurement there and I used that on my search filter when I was searching online. Another key consideration for me was the width of the cabinet and the shelving. Since this is to be used as shoe storage for us primarily, I wanted to make sure that the cabinet itself was going to be wide enough to contain more than just one or two pairs of shoes. So to figure out how big of a shelf I was going to need, I took the largest shoes in my household, which happened to be my husband's, and I lined them up on the floor and I measured how wide of a width I was gonna need to fit 3 pairs side by side. Now we store enough shoes in our entryway area here that I figured 3 pairs across on multiple shelves inside the unit would be a sufficient amount. So I just lined up 3 pairs of shoes across the floor, took my measurement and found out that a minimum of 27 inches across is really what I would need for this storage to be comfortable, because I didn't want to have to stack shoes one on top of the other, because then that's just another mess to clean up and it doesn't keep your shoes as nice. So once I had height and width and depth figured out for storage capacity, then it was time to look at the design. So as I was sitting at my kitchen table and just sort of staring at the other decor I had in my living room already, a couple of things jumped out at me as I was looking at this and some alternatives. So if you look at the wall art that I have hanging on the wall above my couch, there is some gray in the background there. Otherwise, the color scheme in my home tends to be very warm with lots of warm browns and warm light yellows and beiges and golds. But I didn't want to go overwhelmingly warm with a dark, heavy wood that was going to more or less blend into the dark brown sofa. So I kind of pulled from the gray in the background of those photos. And then what I loved especially was if you look at the geometrical lines in the background of those canvases, they match very nicely with these gorgeous gold bars and gold details on the cabinet itself. So to upgrade your non-traditional entryway and get some of that clutter off the floor and out of the way, keep those key things in mind. Know what you need to store and how large of a storage unit you're going to need. I found this under sideboards in the search terms. So get creative with what you're searching for. It's not just shoe storage necessarily, but sideboards, buffet cabinets. You can get creative there. And then take the whole of your room into consideration as you're designing and choosing the style of your piece. This is the recipe for the green juice that I swear by whenever we have colds or just feeling a little under the weather. It certainly isn't a replacement for modern medicine, but the absolute infusion of nutrients and good for you stuff that gets into your system with these juices makes me feel amazing, significantly better than just taking a vitamin C tablet. And the other thing that I always notice when I drink this juice consistently is the way that my skin absolutely glows. Now, part of the reason for that could be because of the anti-inflammatory properties in a lot of these fruits and vegetables. Celery juice in particular, anecdotally, is supposed to be very good for inflammation, which if you have rosacea like I do, can really help that redness fade away. So we have cucumber, celery, 2 green apples. Sometimes I'll mix this up and I'll do 1 green with 1 other variety, a whole lemon with the rind, a nice sizable chunk of ginger, and kale is kind of a give or take for me, or take it or leave it for me. This particular kale came out of my garden. I have a very hardy kale plant this year, so I am utilizing it. That said, kale does not have a particularly high water content, so consider that one optional. Spinach might be a better alternative. Parsley is also wonderful to use in this juice. So I have my trusty Breville juicer that is a little bit worse for the wear because I've had it for several years, but I'm gonna go ahead and chop up these vegetables and we're gonna go ahead and get them juiced. There we go. Now, the wonderful thing about juicing as well is that you can use the pulp for a lot of different things. I, in particular, like to use it as compost for the soil and putting nutrients back into my garden bed. So we'll want to scrape all of that extra pulp out into the receptacle. Now, one thing you must get in the habit of doing if you decide to start juicing is making sure that you wash all of your juicer parts as soon as you're done juicing. Otherwise, that plant fiber and the juice will dry up and it's very, very difficult to soak off. So we're gonna get every last drop that we can out of that juice extractor. And then we have about 15 ounces of delicious, delicious green juice today. Now, I realize it can seem very labor intensive, but it actually goes very quickly. And once you get into a rhythm of how you like to clean your juicer, it really doesn't take that long at all. It's not really the kind of thing that you can make very far in advance, and it doesn't really keep well in the fridge for a particularly long period of time. It really is best to make it and drink it fresh, but it's a habit of a lifetime. So cheers. Zingy. So every year I like to buy myself a couple of pieces that catch my eye just to sort of freshen up my wardrobe, give me something new to wear that makes everything feel a little bit new, a little bit more interchangeable without turning over my entire wardrobe just to keep up with the fashion trends. So I had a couple of things that I bought for this season's fall 2025 wardrobe, and I wanted to share them with you. Now, these are from some brands that are a little bit under the radar. They're brands that I've had touch points with in the past that I've always been really attracted to some of their pieces, but they are fast becoming favorites. So the first one I wanted to share with you guys is this gorgeous blazer from the company Aqua. So I picked this up at Bloomingdale's and I got it on a great sale price. Full price, it's actually only $138 on sale. It was $105. But it just is so gorgeous and so versatile. And coming from a person who is 5'10" with extremely long arms, it has a gorgeous tailored fit as well. So this is going to satisfy all of those autumnal colors that you are itching to wear this time of year, with a few surprise neutrals in here as well. So you have your classic black. You also have a variety of neutrals shot through here, from a light tan and camel. You have an ivory off-white, and then you also have some rich shades of a chocolatey, earthy brown. You have real pockets, not faux pockets, which we also always love. And I think my favorite thing about this blazer is the texture. It has this wonderful sort of twill texture, I think is the right word for it. And that just creates a visual interest above and beyond the colors and the pattern. The other thing that I think is great about it is this is a fabric that, in my mind, can dress up very easily for business meetings, boardrooms, business day-to-day 9-to-5 type wear. Or you could pair this with a pair of jeans and just take a casual outfit to the next level, which is also something that's really fun. And in this transitional weather that we're having right now, something like this could almost be worn as your outerwear if you were going out for drinks with girlfriends, out to a kid's sporting game, something that you can throw on as your outer layer to just kind of elevate the whole look. Now, this next item that I bought was purchased very intentionally to be worn with this blazer, but this is a pair of suede boots by Vince Camuto. And I'm gonna show what these look like when I'm wearing them, because when they're in the boot form, it's really difficult to tell. But these are a nice wide calf slouchy boot. You have that nice slouch around the ankle, that very sort of casual, laissez-faire look, which I was really interested in this season because I have several pairs of structured boots, of leather boots, of boots that hold their shape. And these ones, I just wanted something a little bit more casual. And again, paired with the blazer, you end up with this very nice casual but elevated kind of look. My other favorite thing about these is the Vince Camutos. This is not my first pair of them, and they fit my feet extremely well in terms of the shape of the toe box. These are pretty much an almond toe, and I was very apprehensive when I first took them out of the box. I thought that there was no possible way that they would be comfortable to wear, but they actually, as far as toe boxes go, they are quite comfortable. They're certainly not a barefoot shoe or a square-toed boot, but they are quite comfortable to wear. And my other favorite thing about them is that the heel height is really reasonable. Sometimes I see boots like this that I'm obsessed with and excited to buy, and the heel height makes them impossible to wear for anything. You've got 4 inches and higher. And at this point in my life, I'm just not looking to teeter around on heels that make me feel off balance. So I think the heel height on this was about 3.5 inches, which works out very well for me. So I will link both of these down below. As I said, the aqua blazer I got on sale for $105. I think it's regularly $138. And the boots I also got on a discount, but I think they're somewhere around $200. So I will link those for you down below as well. Even if this particular blazer is not your style, I highly recommend you check out the brand Aqua. Again, I found this one at Bloomingdale's, and on their website, they had lots of other styles and options. And I just think that the quality, at least for me, comes very highly recommended. Thanks so much for spending some of your time with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and that if you did, you will like and subscribe to the channel to be notified when my new video comes out. In that one coming up, we're going to be sharing some fall gardening tips, some front porch autumnal decor that is very simple and budget friendly, an amazing cozy autumnal dinner idea that everybody will love, and my favorite tips to keep your home smelling fresh and seasonal all throughout fall. So I hope you'll come back for that video, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.